To the Curious Calculator. In today's video, we're going to be going over the following problem. Factor the following polynomial using the rational root theorem and synthetic division. 2x cubed minus 9x squared plus 7x plus 6. So to get started here, I want to briefly go over the rational root theorem. And to do that, let's write out the general form of any polynomial, which will be the following. Let's see, a n x to the n plus a to the n minus 1 x to the n minus 1 plus a1 x1 plus a0. And so the rational root theorem is basically saying that the possible rational roots of any polynomial will have the form of p over q, where p is a factor of a0 and q is a factor of a n. So let's go ahead and see that in practice here with our example. And our polynomial a0 is 6 and an is 2. So let's list out the factors for each of those. So factors of 6. And one thing we want to keep in mind here is, although typically when we are listing the factors of a number, we only include the positive factors, we want to keep in mind that the factors can also be negative, as the definition of a factor is any number that evenly divides the number we're trying to factor. So, for example, 6 can be evenly divided by 6, which is 1, but it can also be evenly divided by negative 6, which would be negative 1. So, let's keep that in mind here. So, let's see here. The possible factors are plus and minus 6, plus and minus 3, plus and minus 2, and plus and minus 1. And then the factors of 2 are the following: plus and minus 2, plus and minus 1. So now we can write out our possible rational roots using these factors. The possible rational roots will be, let's see, possible rational roots. 6 over 1, plus or minus 6 over 1, plus or minus 3 over 1, plus or minus 2 over 1, plus or minus 1 over 1. And I didn't write the ones underneath here because that would just be plus or minus 6 and so on. And now we want to do them all over the factor of plus or minus 2. And so we have plus or minus 6 over 2, plus or minus 3 over 2, plus or minus 2 over 2, and plus or minus 1 over 2. And we can reduce this list by seeing that 6 over 2 is the same thing as 3. So we can take that out. That's just going to be the 3. And let's see, the 2 over 2 is just going to be the 1 right here. So that's 1, and I'll go ahead and write that. That's because that is 3, and that is 1. And so we already have those there. And then we get the new ones of 1/2 and 3/2. So our whole list should be plus or minus 6, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 3/2, and plus or minus 1/2. And that right there will be our complete list of possible rational roots. So now what we want to do is we want to go through this list and test them to see if they are actually roots. And then once we find one that works, we're going to perform synthetic division in order to find a new polynomial which we can then factor. a little easier than the original one we're starting with. So let's see here. I'm going to start with plus or minus 1 and kind of work my way up from there. So let's see here. With our polynomial of 2x cubed minus 9x squared, I'm going to write that right here. 2x cubed minus 9x squared plus 7x plus 6. Let's go ahead and plug in a positive 1 here and test that one out. So if we do that, we'll have 2, 1 to the third minus 9, 1 squared plus 7 times 1 plus 6. And let's see here, that's going to be 2 minus 9 plus 7 plus 6. And that will equal, let's see here, I'm going to actually cheat real quick here to use a calculator. 2 minus 9 plus 7 plus 6. That's going to come out to 6. So that will not be a root. And then let's try out negative 1. So we'll have 2 to the negative 1 to the 3 minus 9 to the negative 1 squared plus 7 negative 1 plus 6, which will equal, let's see, negative 2 minus 9 minus 7 plus 6. And again, I'm going to cheat real quick here and use a calculator. Minus 9 minus 7 plus 6. Well, that'll be negative 12. Okay, so that one doesn't work. Nope. Let's try out 2. So 2 times 2 to the third minus 9, 2 squared plus 7 times 2 plus 6. And let's see, plugging this in, we get 2 raised to the third, which is 8, times 2, which is going to be 16. So it's going to be 16 minus, now 2 squared is 4, and 9 times 4, so 36 minus 36 plus 14 plus 6. And that will be, let's see, 16 minus 36 plus 14 plus 6. That will come out to 0. So we just found one of our roots here, which happens to be 2. So when x equals 2, our polynomial is 0. So now that I found that root, what I want to do is I want to use synthetic division. And so we're going to set up our polynomial by looking at the coefficients here and doing that. So 2x cubed minus 9x squared, 2x cubed minus 9x squared plus 7x plus 6. The coefficients are 2, negative 9, 7, and 6. Draw out the little synthetic division bracket. And 2, so that means I'm going to write the 2 out here. Now, doing synthetic division, we drop down the 2 here, multiply 2 times 2 is 4, carry that over here, add them together, negative 5, and then we get 2 times negative 5 is negative 10, carry that over, add them together, and we'll get negative 3. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, and we get negative 6, and that will be 0. So that worked out. Awesome. Now the new polynomial we're left with is one that is 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. So now we want to factor this one out, and we will get, using the AC method, 2 times negative 3 equals negative 6. So two numbers that multiply to negative 6 and add up to negative 5 would be negative 6 and positive 1. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2x squared minus 6x plus x minus 3. And then we're going to do the factoring by grouping. And I just want to say here, if you're a little confused about what I'm doing here, with the AC method or the factoring by grouping, I do have other videos on that. Alright, so continuing with this, we're going to take out the 2 from here, or sorry, 2x, and we're going to be left with x minus 3, and then we'll take out a 1 from here, and we'll be left with x minus 3. So now we can rewrite this as 2x plus 1 times x minus 3. And we got to keep in mind the factor that we pulled out earlier, which was the one when x equals 2. And so we're also going to include that one here, which will be x minus 2, because when x equals 2, then that will become 0. All right, and that right there will be our final answer. And I just wanted to end today's video with a little fun fact from philosophy. Did you know that Stoicism, or the name Stoicism, gets its origins from the word stoa, or I guess not the word, but it gets the origin from stoa poikile, which kind of means like a painted porch, which is where Zeno originally met with his followers and his friends to discuss their philosophy.